Smoke billowed over New Carthage, the lifeless streets a testament to the Valith dreadnought's merciless precision. 60 million whispers echoed across 12 conquered systems. She is unstoppable. Yet when diplomat Andre Castellan first spoke her name, Lyrax, their world shifted, revealing a broken warrior yearning for redemption. Year 3147 E. After expansion. Orbital observation deck above New Carthage. Charred horizons dominated the view. Rising smoke plumes from residential districts, casting a fire glow against twilight. Jet-black tendrils of smoke wove between ruined spires. Heat waves rippled through the air, and the distant wails of abandoned emergency sirens carried through the observation deck's audio receptors. The lingering metallic scent of scorched buildings and the acrid sting of burning plastics filtered through the environmental systems. Andre Castellan's palm pressed flat against the reinforced transpar, jaw clenched, shock tempered by grim resignation. Commander Helena stood a step behind, voice hollow as she announced, 47 minutes from orbital insertion to planetary surrender. 3 million casualties. At 42 years old, Andre was a renowned human diplomat for the Colonial Senate. 17 successful first-contact negotiations decorated his career, including the landmark peace accord with the Epsilon Collective. Yet, never had he faced a counterpart whose beastly reputation sowed terror across 12 conquered systems in 3 years. Tall and lean, 5 home tall, Andre's dark eyes, edged with fatigue, caught his reflection in the transpare. His uniform remained immaculately pressed, diplomatic insignia glinting on his breastplate, despite the hours of travel. A holstered translator implant hummed at his temple, ready for its most challenging assignment yet. Conflict battled within him, between duty and dread. Memories of war-torn colonies flickered through his mind. Could her tactics really be led by anything other than pure rage? He recalled classified reports, surgical strikes on military complexes, terror bombings to shatter morale, then targeted assassinations of resistance leadership, precision too calculated for mere savagery. A holographic projection flickered to life beside him, a towering humanoid female with feline curvature, auburn hair matted with blood, armor etched with scars, golden cat-like eyes, empty of mercy, pierced the dim corridor light. Psychological profile summary, announced the AI narrator. Operates on pure instinct and rage. No evidence of higher reasoning or negotiation capacity. Every attempt at analysis concluded. Feral predator, beyond redemption. Imperial historians scoffed nearby. Valara Empire no longer controls her. You see only what she lets you see. 3 years ago, Lyrax's Veil Thera fleet was outnumbered 4.1 at Nova Primus. Standard doctrine prescribed frontal assault. Instead, she feigned retreat into an asteroid belt, then collapsed the enemy formation with gravitational charges, demonstrating tactical genius that belied her supposed bestial nature. The Valara Empire was an ancient warrior culture, power given to inborn strategist bloodlines. Rigid caste structure placed high executive Zafane at the head of the Imperial Council. Their culture prized honorable conquest, but undercut it with neural conditioning technology used on political dissidents. The human colonial Senate represented a coalition of Earth, Mars, and 22 outer colonies. They valued diplomacy, underwritten by the Earth Defense Fleet. The Senate feared Lyrax as the Beast, yet underestimated her potential for negotiation. 3 years of expanding human colonization into Valara space had triggered this conflict. Skirmishes at border planets had escalated into full planetary invasions. The Senate feared open war. Thus, Andre was dispatched to attempt the impossible: negotiate peace with Valara's deadliest weapon. Numbers on a holoscreen do not convey the weight of charred spines, of empty streets haunted by a name spoken in terror. Andre thought, staring at the devastation below. If I fail, 42 billion lives on Earth and its colonies hang in the balance, despite Council warnings. Andre stepped onto the transport to Nexus Station, vowing to unearth intelligence that suggested Lyrax might be more than a killer. As the transport bay doors hissed shut, he glanced back. Below, New Carthage's fires still burned, an omen that nothing would ever be the same once this meeting began. Nexus Station emerged from the starfield as Andre's transport approached, an enormous cylindrical habitat 10 kilometers long. Ornate domes advertised trade, diplomacy, sanctuary in multiple languages. Security remained tight, courtesy of the coalition peacekeepers who maintained the neutral territory. Andre's crisp uniform contrasted with the station's utilitarian metal walls as he stepped off the shuttle, greeted by tinted air flickering overhead from environmental systems. Anxiety tangibly coiled in his chest as armed guards escorted him through labyrinthine corridors toward the diplomatic chambers. The conference room was sterile and circular, ringed by one-way mirrors. Recording devices tracked vital signs, while ocular implants recorded micro-expressions of all participants. Dr. Alina Rash, the lead xenopsychologist, arranged data tablets while Commander Helena watched from the observation gallery. Admiral Voss stood with arms crossed, his skepticism evident in every line of his body. "We treat her as a sentient being, not a monster," Andre silently promised himself. "If I do nothing else, I will not let fear govern me." The door hissed open. A gust of recycled station air preceded her arrival. Lyrax moved like a shadow, armor clanking softly with each step. Every movement carried latent violence, muscles coiled, claws sheathed at her fingertips. Blood still flecked her dark metal armor. Auburn hair fell in tangles around her face. Golden eyes glowed like dying embers in the sterile light. Andre's heart hammered in his chest. Behind him, the observation team's tense silhouettes flattened against the glass. A low rumble emerged from Lyrax's throat, half growl, half curiosity. She stopped 3 meters away, head tilted as if sniffing the air. "Lyrax," Andre said, emphasizing the correct pronunciation, his voice calm but firm. "I am Andre Castellan, envoy of the United Human Colonial Senate. We share an interest, an end to this devastation." Lyrax offered no movement, no response, only narrowed eyes, a predator assessing prey. Dr. Rash's earpiece crackled. Heart rate rising, recommendation, maintain distance. "She's not hostile, she's evaluating," Andre muttered under his breath to Rash. He turned to the observation team and offered subtly, "We'll withdraw your observation teams." Footsteps receded. Camera drones hovered lower. As the one-way mirrors went dark, Lyrax's posture relaxed fractionally, ears lowering from alert tension. She stepped to within a meter of the table, exposing scarification patterns etched across her arms and neck, tattooed stories of battle and pain. Her hand drifted to the table's edge, knuckles whitening as her claws hovered inches from Andre's throat. Mortality lurked in the silent tension between them. "You know you can kill me 10 ways in 5 seconds, yet you do not." "Why?" Andre asked, voice barely above a whisper. Golden eyes softened. Flickers of confusion and shame crossed her face. She pulled her hand away, as though burned by the realization. "I don't know. I don't know why." Her expression seemed to say, though she remained silent. Andre realized that the re-entry of guards would escalate violence. His gamble now was to trust her nascent curiosity. Before he could press further, alarms blared. Automatic lockdown. Security shutters slammed around them. Lyrax's eyes went feral in response. A guard panicked and fired. Lyrax moved in a blur. One strike incapacitated him, but she targeted to disable, not kill. Andre's realization crystallized in that moment. She has conscious restraint. Orthodox intelligence is false. She isn't mindless. But what else are they hiding beneath that armor? That single shot, security's bullet, set everything in motion. Lyrax and Andre irrevocably bonded. From this moment, neither could remain merely diplomat and weapon. They must discover what truly governed her rage. 3 days later, late in the station cycle, Andre orchestrated a more informal setting, a chessboard placed on the conference table. Each piece represents a choice, Andre explained, as he set up the board. The game mirrors warfare, but requires strategy, foresight, and intelligence, not just strength. Lyrax observed silently, golden eyes tracking each piece as Andre explained its movement pattern. Within an hour, she had learned the rules and maneuvered a pawn into a double advance that threatened Andre's queen. Her eyes glowed with predatory focus, proof she reasoned several moves ahead. If she can intuit tactics to this degree, she's thinking long-term, Andre thought. Intelligence profiles misled us completely. Through Andre's earpiece, Dr. Rash noted micro-expressions, ear flattening when Lyrax reached for a piece, subtle lip quiver when she retrieved a knight. Despite amnesia of her personal history, she retains muscle memory of strategy, tactician's reflexes, Rash explained quietly. Emotional response oscillates from hollow rage to curiosity. Hypothesis. Neural pathways for strategic planning remain intact. Moral judgment suppressed but flickering. On the second day, Lyrax sat opposite Andre, head bowed. The chessboard lay between them, an unspoken representation of war and choice. Tell me about emotions, anger, regret. You experience them, don't you? Andre asked gently. Lyrax's clawed fingers hovered over chess pieces. She lowered her gaze. Memories. Fade to red. Pain. She tensed, ears tightening against her skull. She jerked away suddenly. Sensation of pain, like remembering a distant scream. Tears traced dark paths through grit on her cheeks. She's on the verge of a breakthrough, or a breakdown. Andre realized, if these memories overwhelm her, she'll lash out. Later that day, sensors detected elevated cortisol in Lyrax. Guards swarmed to the door. Believing betrayal, Lyrax lunged toward them. She deflected stun baton strikes, disarming 2 guards, her strikes precise enough to fracture bones without lethal intent. Andre rushed forward, placing himself between Lyrax and the 3rd guard. "Stop!" he shouted. "She's not the enemy here!" A brief standoff followed. Lyrax's claws hovered over Andre's throat, eyes torn between rage and recognition. Slowly, deliberately, she lowered her arm. In the aftermath, all observation teams withdrew from the chamber permanently, granting them privacy, but also removing immediate checks on her impulses. Andre's diplomatic gambit had succeeded. Early on the 3rd day, Andre was awakened by screams from Lyrax's small quarters aboard Nexus Station. Sparse, metal bed, single viewport. He hurried to her door. Lyrax thrashed in delirium, scratching at walls, tears dripping into blood-stained palms. Panting, she murmured in old Valara tongue, ancient rhythms no translator could categorize. "Why did I kill you? Why?" she shrieked at phantoms. "There's no one here but us. Breathe," Andre said, entering slowly. "Focus on me. You have a choice now." Andre felt her primal terror, bloodlust caged by dawning conscience. He realized that every violent reflex lurked beneath her skin, waiting to be triggered. Later that day, they sat in a makeshift study in the corridor, low-lit table, hollow projector showing recovered intelligence. "What do you remember about Nova Primus? About your fleet's strategy?" Andre asked. "Asteroids. Traps," Lyrax replied hesitantly. The defenders, believed they won. But I collapsed their formation." The Nova Primus battle replayed on Holo, showing her manipulation of gravitational charges. Her eyes narrowed. Both pride and disgust crossed her face. "Who taught you to strategize? Who molded your mind?" Andre pushed gently. "I don't remember," Lyrax said, conflicted. "Should I?" Her response revealed she sensed strategic brilliance utterly disconnected from the guilt that followed her actions. In a quiet observation lounge, with the stellar expanse visible outside a viewport, Dr. Rash revealed secure intel to Andre. She once was Liax of House Kalar, champion tactician, Rash explained. She pioneered conditional surrender, ended the hegemony wars. A woman who refused to bomb civilians, and they broke her mind, then sold her as a weapon, Andre said, stunned by the revelation. He resolved to find deeper truth, to help her recover what was stolen. Later that night, Andre found Lyrax in the unlocked chamber, chessboard with several broken pieces scattered before her. She recalled fragments, mother's lullabies, mentor's words on honor, not conquest. Her hands trembled over a fractured queen piece, symbol of her lost self. You know who you were. Let me help you remember, Andre said gently as he entered. Tears welled in Lyrax's eyes as she accepted his hand. For the first time, the unbreakable armor around her heart cracked. I don't know who I am anymore, but perhaps I can learn again, she whispered. On the fourth morning, Dr. Rash and Dr. Elena Rush slipped classified holofiles to Andre and Lyrax in a secret data vault on Nexus Station. The holovid flickered to life. A young Liax stood proud in ceremonial armor beside Vale Thera dignitaries, eyes bright with conviction. Footage showed her negotiating conditional surrender treaties with enemy worlds, magnanimous, visionary. That isn't me. I would never hurt innocents, Lyrax said, stunned. But then she saw video of herself commanding orbital bombardment, her eyes filled with horror. Neural reconditioning erased your moral compass, Andre explained. They needed a scapegoat for rising tensions. You said no, so they stripped your memories and turned you into their living siege engine. A holoscreen flickered on. The scaled face of High Executive Zafane appeared. Behind him stood Corvex in full hunter regalia. Human negotiator, we trust your gift has proven enlightening, Zafane said formally. However, Liax of House Kalar remains Imperial property. Maintenance is overdue. Return her for reconditioning. Fail to comply, and your diplomatic asset shall be reclaimed by force. This pronouncement confirmed the Empire's plan. Neural reconditioning refreshes the weapon. Without it, Lyrax's unstable memories risked breaking her entirely. In their private quarters, Lyrax paced, fury mixed with despair. If they reclaim me, I lose who I am, all memory of home, honor gone forever. Then we will not allow them to take you. Not again, Andre promised. Shadows behind her revealed incomplete Empire insignias, etched on station walls. Velvet-shrouded surveillance everywhere. They decided to flee. Later that afternoon, they slipped through Nexus Station's underground docking bay corridors. A secure channel connected them to the Celeste Resistance, a loose network of Valara dissidents and human smugglers. Corvex's forces will hit this bay within the hour, the Resistance handler warned. We can't guarantee extraction, but there's a rarely used courier ship, Lucky Strike, docked in C sector. Risk it, or you're done. Staccato footsteps echoed as security sweeps approached their position. Andre and Lyrax slipped through a side hatch. Hearts pounding, time was running out. The dust-choked concourse of Kepler 442b spaceport stretched before them, lined with battered freighters. Neon signs flickered over seedy cantinas. The smell of fuel vapors, metal, and spice hung in the air. As they disembarked, heads turned. Undercover scanners flagged them. The image of Lyrax, battered armor, blood-tinted eyes, broadcast across smuggler networks. I need a military-grade plasma rifle and a dampener signature engine, Lyrax said in Old Valara tongue, shifting to standard. Clean manufacture, no Imperial hallmarks. Premium tech won't come cheap, 4,000 credits upward, the dealer replied slyly. But I've got intelligence on an Empire fuel depot in Sector H9. Maps included for free if you bid 3,000. The cost of betrayal is steep. Yet information is the greater currency, Andre thought. They bartered. Lyrax traded 3 gigabytes of intel on Valara fleet dispositions in exchange for the weapons and information they needed. Corvex emerged from behind a hulking cargo hauler, flanked by 6 Valara Imperial commandos. He wore ceremonial hunter armor, leather sleeves, plated shoulders, tusked helm. Reptilian scales glinted under neon lights. Liax of House Kalar, your tame pet human negotiator is quite unexpectedly persistent. Corvex spat her name like venom in their native tongue. Lyrax positioned herself protectively in front of Andre, laser rifle case slung across her back. You have 2 choices, friend of beasts, Corvex mocked. Kill the human by my order, or see him burn as we reclaim our weapon. He is not any human, Lyrax replied, voice cold as freezing ether. He is the one who gave me a name. I am not your weapon. Nearby patrons dropped crates, scattering as commandos raised rifles. Andre's pulse raced. Lyrax's simmering rage threatened to erupt. The nebula's distant storm flickered across the canopy overhead. Lyrax's golden eyes flashed with cold fury, training honed to slaughter. But her newly recovered conscience fought against it. You made me your tool. Today, I become my own instrument, she declared loudly, resonantly. Stand down, or we burn everything you hold dear. Commandos raised rifles, Corvex tuts. Bravery or folly, time shall tell. Swift as a striking serpent, Lyrax drew her plasma rifle, aimed, not at Corvex, but at the vast Imperial fuel depot to their west. A single plasma bolt arced through neon glare, piercing storage tanks. A fireball erupted, a chain reaction that bathed the port in orange flames. Commandos dove behind crates. Corvex's helmet glinted before he dived for cover. Shrapnel rained on nearby smugglers. The entire wharf resonated with explosions. Go, now! Andre seized Lyrax's arm as debris flew. They sprinted across open ground, pursued by startled commandos and secondary Imperial reinforcements. Staccato lasers cracked the air. The entire port descended into pandemonium. The Lucky Strike cargo freighter waited half-camouflaged in dust and pipeline shadows. Ramp ajar. Engines hummed, ready for takeoff. Andre and Lyrax ducked behind upturned crates as laser bolts ignited nearby fuel drums. Lyrax's hand clamped on his shoulder, yanking him away just before a blast roared through. Her every motion still thrummed with aspiring death, yet tempered by protective focus. Coordinates locked. Jump in 3, 2. Andre panted as they ran toward the ship. Lyrax's nimble fingers activated thruster arrays. Just as commandos stormed their position, Lucky Strike rocketed skyward. Imperials fired a final laser volley, but they overshot as the freighter's underbelly lifted beyond line of sight. The universe warped as hyperspace currents enveloped Lucky Strike. Stars smeared into streaks of crimson and violet. Andre's stomach churned. He braced against co-pilot's seat, his face contorted in both nausea and exhilaration. Lyrax sat poised at the helm, expression both fierce and tender. She glanced back at Andre, golden eyes alight. When Corvex said I should kill you, she said softly, I felt nothing but the choice to protect. In that moment, I realized she is no longer a weapon. They no longer control her. Andre thought, she is my partner, my equal, and together, we have defied a galaxy of oppressors. Ionized nebula gases swirled in towering columns of violet and gold as they emerged from hyperspace. Ship systems hissed as radiation filters engaged. Lyrax maneuvered Lucky Strike toward an abandoned research station moored in dark matter orbit. Its hull was pockmarked, windows shattered, a battered relic of Valara biotech experimentation. We're heading straight into the lion's den. This station once pioneered mind control, Andre thought with apprehension. Magnetogrips engaged. The station's docking bay gates groaned open, welcome or trap, uncertain. The docking bay was lit by flickering amber strobes. Shadows twisted across the mossy floor. Radiation-tinted surfaces, showing years of abandonment. Lyrax stepped off the ramp, barefoot on cold metal. Her fingers traced jagged scars on the bulkhead, markers of experiments that once shattered her mind. She murmured in Old Valara, recalling twisted memories of clinical clamps and pulsating electrodes. "We're not the enemy here," Andre reassured her. "We will find what we need and leave, together." They split up, Lyrax to locate the central neural lab, Andre to configure a temporary communications relay with Dr. Rash. The lab corridor stretched before Lyrax, fluorescent panels flickering overhead. Rusted, broken interface terminals lined walls. Walls were adorned with faded diagrams, brain synapses, chemical pathways, schematic of cranial clamps. A solitary chair sat beneath dangling electrodes, once used to torture minds. Lyrax staggered, clutching her head, as shadows of memory flashed, cataclysmic horror of being strapped down, forced to watch battles while chemical stimulants filled her veins. Andre entered, gently holding her shoulder. "Breathe," he murmured. "You are not that person anymore." They vowed to scour every terminal for a reversal protocol that might restore her fully. In the central computer core, a towering cylindrical console, humming faintly, Lyrax deftly plugged an access key into the primary slot. Boreal blue holographic schematics flickered, listing Subject Lex of House Kalar. Chemical logs detailed months of memory suppressants and aggression enhancers, administered intravenously. Neural maps illustrated targeted synaptic rewiring. Protocol 47B. Stage 1 erases bonds to homeworld. Identity markers. Any preconditioned empathy bits. Andre read aloud. Protocol 47C. Aggression circuits amplified to 200% baseline. Overriding inhibition centers. Lyrax's palms went clammy. Tears welled in her eyes. "They thought they could break me, but they only buried me." 2 days later, they had repurposed the station's outdated neurocomputers to craft a reversal algorithm. Andre observed as Lyrax manipulated code, recalibrating synaptic threshold markers, cross-referencing chemical antidote formulas. Dr. Rash's voice echoed over comm. "If we can introduce the counteragent precisely, we might restore her identity, provided her brain still retains plasticity." Lyrax hesitated over a node labeled Circuit 12, Loss of Compassion. She feared that if rewired, she'd recall all the innocents she slaughtered. "Your conscience is your own," Andre promised softly. "If it overwhelms you, I will stand by you." The swirling tensor network on the holomap looked like a shattered kaleidoscope, her fractured mind yearning to reassemble. In the medical bay, repurposed for neural treatments, a modified chair stood center stage, oversized cranial clamps removed to fit Lyrax's head. Lyrax reclined, her hazel eyes closed. She was injected with nanoparticle-infused serum, neural electrodes calibrated to emit gentle pulses. Andre stood beside, offering voice prompts. "Remember home, remember honor." Brainwaves spiked. Faint images flickered. A childhood memory of her grandmother's lullabies. Taste of fresh loci fruit. Suddenly, Lyrax's body convulsed. Murderous rage flooding her circuits. Racked by guilt, dreams of war zones. She thrashed violently, grabbed at the clamps. Alarms blared as monitors showed destabilizing synaptic feedback. "Remember who you truly are," Andre pleaded desperately. "I'm here. Feel my hand." The procedure aborted. Lyrax fell unconscious. Andre cradled her head, somber realization that the process might take far longer than they hoped. The next morning, Lyrax awakened to news. Upstream frequencies had intercepted transmissions. Imperial outposts nearby held dozens more reconditioned weapons. They were alive, but mindless, awaiting maintenance. "We can't leave them behind," Andre urged. "If we free them, recondition them, they could turn the tide against the Empire." Weak but determined, Lyrax slammed her fist into her palm. Then we fight for them all. Their mission expanded, not only to restore Lyrax, but to liberate other souls the Empire destroyed. 3 days later, having refined the counter-protocol with Dr. Rash's guidance, they prepared for a second attempt at restoring Lyrax's memory. In the main neural lab, ambient hum of backup generators, red hazard lights pulsing. Lyrax settled into the chair as Andre held her hand. This time, no more fear. I will remember, she thought to herself. Hybridized chemical neuroinhibitors slowly released through microinfusion, targeted at aggression amplifiers. Low-frequency electromagnetic pulses coaxed suppressed memory anchors. As pulses intensified, Lyrax's fingers wrapped tighter around Andre's. She uttered old Valara words, phrases about honor and family, shimmering through the haze. Holographic nodes swirled, images of childhood gardens. A gentle Valara grandmother singing lullabies. Remember the light, remember the peace. Next came teenage Lyrax mastering strategy under mentor Elder Thai. The warmth of camaraderie, laughter around the war table planning non-violent resolutions. Abruptly, battlefield nightmares cut through, burning villages, her own fury-driven commands. Faces of civilians, eyes pleading. She recoiled, tears streaming. "No, make it stop!" "Face it," Andre urged, his voice steadfast. "You are strong enough to bear it. You are greater than what they made you." Lyrax's body convulsed. Sweat slicked her forehead. Her brow creased as though recalling every detail with perfect clarity. Lyrax gasped awake, stared into Andre's eyes, lips trembling. "I remember everything," she said softly. "Mother's lullaby, Elder Thai's counsel. Why did they do this to me?" "Because they feared your mind more than your blade," Andre replied. "But you are not alone." Lyrax rose, removed the neural interface connectors. She stepped out of the chair, revealing scars but shoulders squared with renewed dignity. Where once stood a broken weapon, rage-driven, memory-empty, now stood Lyrax of House Kalar reborn, strategist tempered by compassion. The gentle warmth in her golden gaze was a beacon of hope. In the communications node, deep within the station, with the low hum of transmitters surrounding them, Lyrax prepared a message. "This is Lyrax of House Kalar," she broadcast through encrypted channels. "I have reclaimed my name, my mind, my honor. Activate Phase 2. Rescue all subjects in Starlake Outpost Delta and Epsilon. They are not weapons. They are victims." Footage arrived showing the rescue fleet assembling. Smuggler-piloted corvettes, Valara dissidents, human marine detachments converging. She stood in the relay room, hand on Andre's shoulder. "Together, we save them." He nodded, pride and love shining in his eyes. Swift infiltration of Imperial outposts followed. Freed prisoners, once mindless killers, regained their sense of self, collapsing in tears of gratitude. House Kalar banners were raised on liberated worlds. Resistance cells ignited across war-torn systems. Lyrax and Andre walked through a makeshift memorial for freed victims, each stone engraved with names reclaimed. "We have undone some of their wrongs, but the fight continues," Lyrax said quietly. "And we face it together," Andre replied. Stars glinted through the station's viewport as a new dawn broke on the war-stricken galaxy. Sanctuary City, on planet Oripheus, capital of a neutral world, now offering asylum to House Kalar supporters. Verdant fields stretched beyond luminous city spires. Oripheus was known for ancient Valara human peace accords, an ideal cradle for Lyrax's reborn house. From an elevated platform before an assembled crowd of dissidents, human diplomats, and Valara civilians, Lyrax addressed her followers. "I stand before you as Lyrax of House Kalar, once a broken weapon, now a voice for the powerless," she declared. "We vow to rebuild honor and justice where the Empire imposed terror. Let this new house be guided by mercy, compassion, and mutual respect." Tears and cheers erupted. Valara and human voices intermingling in hopeful applause. Banners bearing House Kellar's emblem, a stylized phoenix rising through shattered circuit patterns, rippled in the breeze. Standing to Lyrax's side, uniform unbuttoned for comfort, Andre reflected on their journey. 3 years ago, they called her a beast. Today, she leads hearts toward unity. Love and perseverance have forged a path no blade or brain leech can sever. Later, in a garden courtyard outside the dais, lush arborean blooms scented the night air. Lanterns floated along winding paths. "I never believed I could feel safe again," Lyrax said softly. "You are safe because you reclaimed yourself," Andre replied gently. "And I am blessed to be by your side." Lyrax unclasped a braided silken cord, a gift from Elder. Before her reconditioning, it contained a single memory crystal. She placed it in Andre's open palm, a token representing trust, memory, and future. They leaned together, eyes closed, foreheads touching. "Thank you for giving me a name when I'd forgotten how to speak it," Lyrax whispered. Lantern light reflected in their clasped hands, a tentative promise of unity across species and histories. The moment was shattered as Imperial Black Ops fighters breached Oripheus's upper atmosphere. Stealth plasma cannons targeted the sanctuary below. Valara resistance and human allies rallied. Ship hangars rapidly scrambled coalition starfighters. Choreographed defensive patterns lit the sky. In the war room, Lyrax directed orbital defense with calm precision. Position Squadron Sigma at 40 degrees. Deploy disruption flares. Oripheus repelled the strike at heavy cost, demonstrating that while the Empire was wounded, it still wielded lethal power. "This is what we signed up for, freedom with a price," Andre said over comm. "Then we pay it gladly, so no one else must suffer," Lyrax replied resolutely. House Kalar operations expanded, freeing reconditioned victims, distributing medical aid, rallying colonies under a banner of justice. Andre negotiated trade routes and humanitarian corridors for displaced civilians. He recorded testimonies of survivors to broadcast the Empire's atrocities galaxy-wide. High Executive Zafane faced dissent in the Imperial Senate. Some members demanded the capture of Lyrax. Others secretly supplied intel to House Kalar, believing the Empire's use of neural reconditioning was abhorrent. Cornered during a covert mission, Corvex surrendered to Lyrax, eyes downcast, body trembling. "No trial can undo what you did," Lyrax said, her plasma rifle trained on him. "But if you can expiate by aiding those you once hunted, I grant you a chance." Corvex knelt, his once proud posture broken in acceptance. Across the galaxy, reconditioned prisoners, once mere appendages of war, now reclaimed their names and faces. Former Empire soldiers, like Corvex, joined the rebellion as volunteers to dismantle neural labs. Children on liberated worlds placed flowers at memorial shrines, learning history through Andre's broadcasts. Human Valara and Zeli-Ara diplomats signed a provisional alliance. Andre and Lyrax stood side by side, emblems of interspecies solidarity. In abandoned training yards on a recaptured world, charred by past battles, Lyrax and Andre took a moment of quiet reflection. All these lives, once pawns, now stand as champions of their own destinies, Lyrax observed. "And together, we forged that destiny from ashes," Andre replied. They planted a sapling, a white-flowered Valerian oak, amidst the ruin. Its petals drifted in the wind, symbolizing hope emerging from devastation. A transmission reached Oripheus from the Imperial Council. "Lyrax of House Kalar, you have sown rebellion across my empire's heart," Zafane said coldly. "Lay down your arms or face the full might of Valara. The next time, no mercy shall be offered." In a closed-door session, Lyrax stood before her war council, Andre Corvex and Chief Strategist Elder TR. "They threaten me. Let them come," Lyrax declared. "Our cause is just, and with unity, they cannot prevail." Massive warships from both sides amassed at strategic systems near the Denarius Nebula. Electromagnetic storms rendered sensors useless, setting the stage for a decisive battle. Andre gazed out at the tethered ships, knew this conflict would test their ideals as never before. Lyrax stood firmly by his side, hand in his eyes, burning with resolute purpose. In a private alcove at Ariphius Citadel, overlooking twinkling city lights, soft synth wind rustled banners bearing House Kilar's phoenix crest. I was broken to serve as a weapon of tyranny, and yet, in the darkness, a human saw my name, my soul. Lyrax reflected silently. He reminded me who I am. Now I stand as a beacon for the lost, my fury rekindled for justice, not destruction. She stood between me and death and chose me, Andre thought. Now I stand with her because she believes that every life holds value. This belief, this love, is our greatest strength. Whatever comes, we face it together, Lyrax said, touching Andre's cheek. Together, Andre smiled softly. They turned to face the horizon, where the Denarius Nebula swirled ominously, hinting at the battles ahead. In a galaxy scorched by fear, only one human dared to speak her shattered name. That name, Lyrax, once Leax of House Kilar, became the spark that ignited a revolution of hope. The beast was unstoppable, until a human gave her a name. From that moment, she reclaimed not only her past, but forged a new destiny for all who had been broken. In the union of compassion and conviction, even the darkest reign can be overturned.